views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of Bronxnet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, and welcome to Open Hybrid. We are back this week at Honoree Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Bx OMNI CH every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll speak to Bronxnet's Director of Community Affairs and Schneps Media, Bronx Power Women Honoree, Audrey Duncan, as she discusses her decorated career in media. Then we'll be joined by Ricosánte Designs creator and disabled Army veteran Héctor Cotza to discuss his 3D wood art exhibition currently on view at Full Park Visitor Center. After that, we'll speak to the brief Wondrous life of Oscar Wilde cast members Altagracia Nova and Belange Rodríguez as they discuss the return of the off-Broadway hit. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on singer-songwriter Ayanna Williams with a performance at the end of the show. So let's sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way because now we are officially open. Hey everyone, welcome to Open Hybrid. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Bx OMNI CH. For the next hour, coming to you back from Honoree Executive Suite, inviting you always to get social with us online. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at Bronxnet TV and like us on Facebook at Open Bronxnet Television. And of course, while you're there, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So the Schneps Media Bronx Power Women of 2022 honored fearless females who make the Bronx a thriving and vibrant place to work, live, and do business. Well, one of this year's honorees was Bronxnet's Director of Community Affairs, Audrey Duncan. Audrey has been with Bronxnet since the station began broadcasting in 1993. She's responsible for developing and implementing projects and activities that build and strengthen partnerships with Bronx organizations, residents, and officials for the purpose of ensuring Bronxnet's role in community development and sustainability. Here to share more is Bronxnet's Director of Community Affairs and 2022 Schneps Media Bronx Power Women Honoree, Audrey Duncan. I can't help myself, you know. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Rhina. Thank you for having me on Open.
We are honored to have you, and we are so excited to share your background with our audience. I mean, I think I believe I opened up with congratulating you, and I'm congratulating you on behalf of all of us. But on a personal note, you have been very special to me and very dear to me. And when I heard that you were one of the honorees and was unable to attend to receive your award in person, I thought, well, perhaps we can share some background on just who you are and how you've been serving all these years, because you work in the production side, and the production side isn't usually visible to the audiences. So what was that like for you, first learning that you were being honored?
Well, thank you, Rhina. Of course, it was an incredible honor to follow in your footsteps, because you yourself were an honoree in the past. And it was, great to know that I was being honored alongside all these outstanding, very outstanding women. I was so grateful. And the fact that it was Schneps Media, because like Bronxnet, they are committed to stories that really help build community. So the honor was just amazing.
And so, I mean, some of the women that you are referencing are like the Bronx Borough president herself, Vanessa Gibson, Letitia James, right? Some of my fellow peers, Jackie Acevedo Villanueva. I mean, Flora Montes, who has the Bronx Fashion Week. I mean, I can go on. Oh, Lourdes Ganes. I'm mentioning the ones that I have direct connects to, because the diversity is really a beautiful picture to look at. And I'm sure we'll be showing the image of all of these beautiful women faces. But you in particular, which is who we're here to celebrate, you always tend to, and you're even doing it now in your conversation, you always give it to the organization and or the other individuals. And so I want to talk about the fact that while you are flattered and honored to receive this award, how you weren't able to be present to give the speech in real time because you were actually committed to an obligation that you had on behalf of Bronxnet.
Yes, Rhina, I am a board member of the Alliance, the National Alliance for Community Media. And one of their main roles, especially today, is protecting community media, particularly, TV side of community media. It's made up of community TV centers from all around the country. And right now we're all facing the same issue, and that's sustainability. So that conference was planned a while ago, and I committed to attending that conference and to helping to actually conduct a session, which actually our Bronxnet Executive Director, Michael Maxnavi, was the presenter. I helped put that session together. And we talked about the community and economic impact that Bronxnet has, not just a way of bragging, but also to just kind of demonstrate how Bronxnet and other community media centers around the country are so important, because we're not just TV, we are TV making a difference in people's lives, in the community, in economic growth in the communities, arts and culture. People like you, really, when you're doing a show, you're really building community, you're contributing to economic impact. And so that conference, really, while I couldn't be there, I felt it was for a reason that actually honored the award itself.
The reason why you're
being honored. Yes, thank you. Yes.
It's kind of poetic. It's very poetic, actually. And thank you for sharing such details with us, because what I was sharing or alluding to is that while you were in Chicago and you pre-recorded an acceptance speech, and while you mentioned all these magnificent women who were also being honored alongside you, your true passion and your true interest lies in making sure that we can maintain and sustain this platform for our community. So it's about serving the community. And I think it's wonderful that you've been recognized for it.
Thank you, Rhina. I think, we at Bronxnet, we're all committed to, making several things possible, as you know, making sure that we have shows like Open that inform the community about important issues, events, activities, people. We have workshops for high school and college students that really help them build careers. As you have seen, you have trained people along with our instructors who have gone on to magnificent positions in the media industry. That would have been so hard to get if they hadn't done their work at Bronxnet. We make it possible for Bronx residents themselves to learn to produce their own shows, and that this gives them another platform for their voices, their views, their vision.
And so before we go, and this is a personal question, why have you, coming from the Bronx yourself, right, chosen to commit your life and your livelihood to the development and sustainability of Bronxnet television? Because you've been here since 1993. We're a year short of your 30th anniversary. That's a lot of time to commit one institution.
Yeah, I think, when I left college, I felt like, I want to, at the time I called it urban planning, do something that contributes to urban planning and making cities, especially New York State, where I'm from, or the Bronx, better. I didn't know how I was going to do that. So I did a number of things before Bronxnet in like community service organizations. And while I was doing that, I got a taste of what it was like to produce content that was also sort of working in that direction. It was a PSA about, nutrition, childhood nutrition. But I was like, wow, this is another way to accomplish what I set out to accomplish. So I sought ways to enter the TV media industry, first at Paragon Cable, just for a couple of years to get my feet wet. And then when Bronxnet came about, I was like, wow. So I applied and started working at Bronxnet. And it really just merged the two goals for me: serving communities, helping communities grow, helping people in communities to grow, and the passion of what it's like to create TV and inspire people through this form of media.
Yeah, and I've witnessed the evolution, not only of you and your roles, the organization. I've been with Bronxnet for almost 16 years. Well, actually 16 years since May, and we're still growing. And there's so much more exciting stuff coming that I can't wait until the fall gets here already. Crossing my fingers that it all rolls out the way it's planned. But do you have any last words before we go?
And I just would again say thank you, and it's been a pleasure working with you to accomplish all these goals. And I think we all look forward to not just doing what we've been doing, but to really growing and doing so much more. The pandemic, while it's maybe stopped our society in its track in certain ways, it actually really expanded the work that we all are able to do at Bronxnet. Incredible amount of work to serve the community. So I'm so honored to be able to continue to serve the community in this way while fulfilling, the passion of being involved in media.
Well, we're certainly happy to be a contribution to that, and stand really strong and proud of serving alongside individuals such as yourself, Miss Audrey Duncan.
Thank you, Ms. Rhina Valentine.
Lady Audrey Duncan.
Thank you, Rhina.
Congratulations once again, everyone. Audrey Duncan, Bronxnet's Director of Community Affairs and a 2022 Schneps Media Bronx Power Woman Honoree. And for more on Bronxnet's new developments, you can visit bronxnet.tv. And if you're interested in learning more about this year's Bronx Power Honorees list, you can visit schnepsmedia.com. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll speak to Bronx local artist and disabled Army veteran Héctor Cotza about his latest 3D wood art exhibition coming to Poe Park. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest is a Bronx local artist and disabled Army veteran who, after being cut off from therapeutic and social support systems during the COVID-19 pandemic, credits the arts for his healing journey. His current expressions can be seen in colors, intricate 3D woodwork, and unique designs, which create a place of joy, peace, love, and pride. And I myself can attest to that with my two Ricosánte designs, the carved wood back there. And he's here to tell us more. Please welcome Ricosánte Designs creator, Héctor Cotza. Hello, welcome.
Oh, I love how you say my name. Hi, Rhina. How are you?
Oh, it's so wonderful to see you, to see how you've expanded. I'm so excited to share with our audience everything happened since our last interview, which was during the pandemic.
Yes, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, right?
Yes, and I was very shy when I did my first interview with you, and I just started, and I remember being close here at home, and I was getting all depressed, and I said, I'm going to start doing something. And I started making these little Puerto Rican flags in wood, and while I was working, and this was something to help me keep going so I could keep my mind busy. It came to a point where I had done so many that I said, oh my God, I need to sell these. And I decided that on Pride, I was going to do my first day. I mean, it was nerve-wracking. I had to rent a tent and I had to sign things and I had to get a certificate and I had to get all this stuff. And I did it for the first time. And I want you to know that it was so, so successful. I'm telling you, I probably sold at least 30 pieces of art. And I said, oh my God, there's something here. So I decided that I was going to do Comité Noviembre, which is in November, right? Because that was the first idea that I had, was to do Comité Noviembre, which focuses on Puerto Rican artisans and their work. And it's like this big fair, Ostos in November. And I said, I'm going to do that next. Again, it was just as successful. So I said, this is going to be my business. You know, December came around, I lost my job. I started interviewing for.
So when we say December, just give me a year. Are we talking
Oh,
about?
sorry, December 2021, this past
Right.
December.
Okay.
I get a call, sorry, the company's closing, they're going bankrupt. And I said, you know something, I'm going to dedicate myself to this. And I started, and I just kept going and going. I'm going to tell you, it's the happiest thing that I do. I go to bed and I can't wait to get up in the morning. And I promise you, I get up at 5:15, I brush my mouth, I make my coffee, and I sit down to make art. This morning I started, I'm making this 3 pieces of Puerto Rican culture, the mofongo and the coffee. And
Right,
the food.
right.
So I'm going to show you a little bit because it's all by pieces. So
Uh-huh.
for example, this is an avocado. I think you can see it right there. Isn't that cute?
Yeah. I
So
mean,
this,
we get the gist of it. So
yeah. So it's
card?
different pieces. It's different
That's
pieces,
card?
right? That's carved. Yeah. And then I paint them one at a time. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's so challenging and it's very creative. I only do one of a kind. And then what happened was a couple of months ago, I got a call and they said, listen, we heard of you. We're doing a 3D art exhibition at the Pole Park Visitor Center with any 55-year and older artists. And I said, that's me. So I submitted some of my artwork and they're like, great. Well, it ends up that mine was the hit. I'm not trying to be on, but mine was the hit. And I saw the other, I mean, the art is beautiful, but mine is something different because it's just 3D, right? So I'm going to show you here quickly. This is one that I did last week, and I'm putting it close so you can see, look at it all around, very detailed. Look at the little cookie there. Like everything's handmade. It takes me a long time, but there's a lot of love that I put into it. So a lot of
detail.
And
I can attest to that because I have 2. I have the heart and I also have the casitas of Puerto Rico, which I'm going to push this up a little bit.
Those are beautiful, yes.
I mean, I probably should have brought them up, but I can attest to the detail and the actual, just looking at it from here doesn't do it justice. It does have those layers and it looks very meticulous. It's very meticulous. Yeah.
So then I got a call back maybe 3 weeks ago, and they said, you know something, we love your art. People are very excited with your art. So we were wondering if you have enough art to fill up our place, because we would like to do an exhibition just with your art. And we would like to have a Meet the Artist Day. And I felt so honored. And I said, oh my God, like, this is my dreams. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Only because when people see my work, they're like, oh my God, you can see the love that you put into it. Look at all the colors. I don't do black and whites. As I told you in the last segment, I started this because I suffered a PTSD and bipolarism. And I had a lot of depression. Now I bring all my love out. Like, I am happy all the time. I'm very happy. Like, you remember last time I was very like, oh, too many questions. Now I'm like, I'm so excited because I'm getting so much attention over my art. So I went over, I told them, listen, I'm doing Pride, depending on what I have left over. I sold, I think, 25 pieces at Pride. Wow. And I still had a couple of pieces left. So I took them all. I had to label all of them. I did it myself because I wanted it to look, if you're going to put my artwork there, I wanted it to all look perfect. They were so excited that I filled it up and they're like, listen, we're going to do a Meet the Artist. I said, sure. So this, if I can give you the information,
of course,
is going to happen July 23rd.
Right.
It's at the exhibit right now, the whole month of July. There's information under the picture. So if anybody wants, there's my business card. If anybody's interested in any piece, they could always Instagram me because that's the only method that I could get, you can communicate with me either through email, which is on the business card, Instagram, or Facebook under Ricosánte Designs.
Okay, so, you know, I gotta say, and again, as you mentioned already, like your energy is so different from what it was 2 years ago. And so I love when we're able to share with our audience the silver lining behind the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I also really quickly want to share with our audience something that occurred with you with regards to you asking us to remove the video of you that was mobilized through YouTube, right? Because we shoot this and the entire show is an hour, but then we separate the segments and they're loaded up to YouTube. And you personally reached out to me and requested that we strike it. And can we just share with our viewers why?
Well, you know, after I lost my job in December of 21, I started interviewing. Now, I was an executive assistant for C-suite individuals, like really high people like Ralph Lauren and Victoria's Secret. And like, I'm here interviewing for these beautiful companies and they're so interested in me. And I could tell by the third interview, I would make it. And at the third interview, I had a couple of people that would say to me, I saw that video of you. And it felt like they were trying to tell me something like, okay, in that last video, I spoke about my disease, right? It's not a disease, I call it a disability.
The disability, PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD from the military. Right. I used to deal with dead bodies. Like that was, so it's very hard at an 18-year-old doing inventory on dead bodies, right? So the way it was presented was this probably a lack, right? And that stigma behind mental illness is so difficult that I decided, you know, so I'm not gonna hide for anyone. You know, if they don't want to hire, they're lost because I've been a very successful person. I've worked with 3 people in my life. They've all taken me to their next job. They're very supportive. I have a boss that goes to all my events with me, my last boss, and drives me, okay? And she is a head of a big company for human resources, okay? So I decided, I told you, you know, Rhina, put it back. You know why? Because I am going to show the world this is me and look how successful I can be with this disability, right? Which has brought the best out of me. It really has.
I'm excited that
I feel like I'm going to cry.
It's beautiful though. It's such a beautiful story because look at what you're doing now. Now you work for yourself. Now you're actually working with your passion and you're excited to wake up every day to just create whatever is, I guess, coming through you in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And it all comes from my head, like not from my head. I get, of course, you get inspiration, but I don't do like people like to commit and say, can you do this for me? I could probably do it, but I have to be in that state of mind because I wake up. Listen, I did one piece that I hated. I literally hated it. It was the face of like that Mexican Day of the Dead, but then I put a clown, had a nose, and it had like a lot of colors. And in that day, I wasn't feeling well. So what I saw was a depressed person inside with this clown face outside that the world can see. Hated that piece. I would never take it out at the event. Can you believe a friend of mine said, you need to take this piece out? And it sold that day. And the woman said to me, this piece spoke to me. And when I told her, she's like, oh my God, I'm in the same boat as you. And the art comes through to people, you know, they read the art in different ways. So I think a lot of my art, people can see where it came from, the love for Puerto Rico, right? Like I am so proud to be a Puerto Rican. I'm proud to be a Latino. I like to do things that have to do with Latino art.
Right.
You know, I do pride. I mean, I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to expand, but slowly, right? Because Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you're doing these by hand and they're all original pieces. It's not
one of a kind.
Yeah, exactly. One of ones. And I can't say it enough. I mean, we're so proud of you and thank you for coming back and sharing your truth. And I hope it inspires anyone who's watching today. Everyone, this is Héctor Cotza of Ricosánte Designs. And Ricosánte Designs 3D Wood Art Exhibition is currently on display now through the end of July 2022 at Poe Park Visitor Center, which is located at 2640 Grand Concourse in the Bronx. And the gallery hours are from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And also, as Hector mentioned, he's going to have a meet and greet on Saturday, July 23rd. And that's happening from 2 to 4 p.m. If you're interested in more in learning more about Hector and his artwork, you can visit him on IG at Hector Cotza. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to hear about the return of the off-Broadway hit, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back. La breve y maravillosa vida de Oscar Wilde, or in English, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, tells the story of Oscar, a naive nerd from Jersey who escapes his imposing mother to attend his first semester of college with the dreams of becoming the Dominican J.R.R. Tolkien. And well, most of all, he's interested in finding love. In this play, Oscar realizes he may never get what he wants, blaming the fuku, a curse that has haunted Oscar's family for generations. And joining us to share more are the Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde's cast members, Belange, Rodríguez, and Altagracia Nova. Hello, welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hello,
How are you?
pleasure to be with you, Rhina.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you on, Belange. Again, I mean, eventually I look forward to being able to hug you in person in
Yes.
studio as we have in the past. But I gotta say, I'm always super excited when I see my peeps working, and the fact that you guys just recently opened. It's so lovely just to see New York really opening in full force. And yeah. And so before we got on air, I know you were sharing that most of the cast members are the original cast members. So let's just take us back to the origins of the Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde's premiere, which I believe occurred in September of 2019?
Yes. It was September 2019. We were running until, well, the pandemic hit, and theaters had to close. It was a wonderful experience when we started running it, to see so many people that have read the book, not only Latinos, but a lot of people of Caucasian descent, we had everything in the audience, and people were enjoying it and loving it. So we're super excited to be back, sharing this beautiful story.
Well, in case anyone is unfamiliar, this is an adaptation of Junot Diaz's novel, and it's adapted and directed by Marco Antonio Rodríguez, who I happen to be a fan of, and I love highlighting his work. So with that, I'm going to throw it to Altagracia, who is also one of the original cast members. And I'm looking forward to hearing what the experience has been like for you actually getting back on stage.
Yes, I mean, it's exciting, the fact that you mentioned Marco Antonio Rodríguez, he did such an amazing job with the adaptation. It's such a blessing to be able to get back because, we did start in September of 2019, and we had a fabulous run. I mean, sold out shows left and right, you name it. And we're very, very grateful for that. And then come March, 2020, it was just everyone, it was chaos because the pandemic shut everybody down. So it was very, very unfortunate. Such an unfortunate experience. So many people, so many deaths, it was such a sad experience, but, to be able to come back, I have such a grateful heart to be able to be on stage sharing, that craft, that, we all enjoy and we all love, and to be able to have people enjoy that and tell this beautiful story is truly a blessing.
It is 2 years later on top of that. I mean, 2 years. When I think about that, I go, is that right? I mean, is that even real? Like, I'm still embracing the fact that for, we're going to say close to 3 years, because really we're already past March of 22.
Yeah.
And it's surreal. So I just wonder what that must have felt like for you guys, you know, on opening night, coming back and being, you know, in vivo. And also, please do share who your new cast members are and what that's been like.
Well, it was wonderful, really, to be back, like Altagracia, you know, was saying. It was just like returning home, you know what I mean? Like to see each other again and hug each other again and just enjoy each other's company on stage and off stage. You know, it's really, really a blessing. On top of that, now we have a new Oscar Wow. This will be the third Oscar Wow we've had since we opened in 2019. And each of them has brought something very different to the role, but they're all wonderful. And this new guy, Rey, is amazing. His heart is the heart of Oscar Wow. You can feel it on stage.
So I understand that the presentations are all in Spanish, and I just want to make sure that our audience is aware of that, but that it's also translated in English. So how does that work in the theater?
Well, they
it's
have
actually- Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, where are the subtitles? Are they on the actual stage?
Yeah, they are. They are right on top of us and behind. So you'll be able to see the whole play and still be able to read it and enjoy the whole experience.
So it doesn't mean that you have to be Spanish speaking to understand it. Like pretty much it has the English super titles, like Belange says in the top, so anyone can understand, you know. And from the translation, a lot of people, I actually asked for even feedback, like, oh my God, did you really get the feel for it? And they're like, oh no, I totally got the story. So it's worked out very nicely.
And so for anyone who isn't familiar with the story of Oscar Wow, what magic would you like to share with them?
It's about the power of love, really. In my opinion, it's about the power of love that this kid believes in, you know, that superpower, love.
Yeah.
This is a story about a Dominican family, which is something that's not, you know, hasn't been really seen in the history of theater, which is truly a blessing. I mean, it's you know, it's part of history, which is such a wonderful blessing. But not only a Dominican family, you know, talking about love, as Belange mentions, it's also the innocence that's behind it. So he's a nerd, he's into love, he wants to fall in love. And it's such an innocence that you just fall in love with from the very beginning, you know. And on top of that, the story is it's a roller coaster basically of emotions. You know, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna get feisty, you know. For example, with my particular role, you know, Lola is a very feisty one.
Oh yeah, she is.
You know, Belange knows, her and I, you know, we get into it, you know. It's truly a wonderful you know, story to tell. And the thing is, you know, that part of it, that innocence, and not just for the Dominican family, but for Latinos in general, is representing Latino America, which is such an honor. And, you know, I feel that so many people need to be aware of this story. It's like basically you have a remote and you're basically turning it on and you're watching a soap opera, but it's live, and only that you can actually comment on it. And you hear people actually commenting on it because they're so, like, you know, into it from the audience, and it's truly an amazing.
Oh, they yell at me.
Oh yeah. My
I mean,
gosh,
it's
they forget they're in live theater. They're yelling at you like they're watching a TV.
Yeah,
it's intense. It
it's
can get
awesome.
very intense.
I love it.
But it's really amazing. I mean, it's fun. It's very fun. And, you know, just as much as we enjoy telling the story and working with each other, because the chemistry is really there, you know, the audience tells us the same and gives us the same feedback. So that's truly a blessing.
Yeah,
that's lovely. And so the show, I understand, is going to be running through December of 2022.
Yes.
Yeah. So
next
how many days?
August 20th.
Throughout the week? I'm sorry, say that again.
Next performance is August 20th.
Okay, so it's periodically, not a straight run every single weekend.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's periodically. We're going to have a lot of performances. A lot of weekends are designated to Oscar Wow this coming season, even though there's other plays that are also going to be shown in Repertorio.
And so the show itself, what's the running time on the show?
It's
about 2 hours.
With intermission?
Yes.
With intermission. Yeah, and of course, audience yelling at the actors.
It's fun. I'm telling
It's
you,
so
it's an
much fun.
experience that, like I said, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, and then it's the history behind it. I mean, you're talking about la era de Trujillo, the Trujillo era. I mean, these are things that are so important to know as Latinos, just especially the new generation. We feel like they're not well informed. And these are things that basically shaped the Dominican Republic. It shaped Latino America. Everyone was affected by it to a certain extent, politically, and in so many ways, economically. So these are things that are so important for us to educate our new generation on, because that's where we come from and that's what helped shape our countries.
I love it. And thank you for sharing that. And that's why it's so important for us to support our work. Because aside from it being a universal story that anyone can appreciate, it's important to know your history and know where you came from and know where we're at now and how we got here. And to do it through the magic of theater, oh my gosh, there's no better way to learn it. I'm a thespian, so, I'm all for it. Bueno, thank you, ladies, for being here and for sharing this, all this background on this next run of the brief, wondrous life of Oscar Wilde. We've got Belange Rodríguez and Altagracia Nova. And once again, the show is going to be running now through December at Repertorio Español, which is located at 138 East 27th Street, and that's in Manhattan, between Lexington and 3rd Avenues. If you're interested in more information and tickets, you can visit repertorio.com. .nyc, repertorio.nyc. And bueno, stay tuned because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Well, sports fans, it has been a banner summer for the Yankees and Mets, and we've got our good friend Honoree Benjamin, the sports director for WBAI, joining us this morning. Honoree, it's so good to be a Yankee or a Met fan this summer. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Bobby. It's good to see you again and good to be on with you guys. Yeah, and if you're a baseball fan here in New York and you're a fan of one of the two teams, then it's definitely a fun summer, and there's still a lot to take place too.
Now, Honoree, you think it's got a good chance to be a Subway Series? I know it's still a little early, but for the first time, I think as we move into kind of the mid-season, the Midsummer Classic coming up, the halfway point of the baseball season, I think it's fair to say that we've kind of reached a point where at least it looks a lot more like a significant possibility.
Yeah, it's something that definitely crosses your mind as the season goes along, and it will be great. And really, for me, it will be great because the last time that happened in 2000, I was away in school, undergrad. I was in Virginia, so I was not even in New York to experience what that felt like. So I definitely would love to be here when that happens, and it will be fun to cover. It would be special. And the one thing, of course, is, in baseball, how hard it is to get through the postseason. And I feel like it's harder to get through the baseball postseason than definitely the NBA and the football one too. Baseball postseason, we've seen over the years that is very unpredictable. And it's the Yankees, for example, since 2004, they've only been to the World Series one time, and that was 2009. And before that, they had gone, 8 times, six, 7 times. They went 96 through 2000, 4 times, then 01, 5 times, 03. So 7 times in 9 years. And since then, they've only been once, right? And since that time, 04 through now, they've had a lot of really good, talented teams that were the best teams on paper. And they get to the playoffs and they get knocked off. So right now, you definitely hope that the Yankees this year, because look, they're having a great season. They're running away with the best record in baseball. But if they don't get to the World Series and they get knocked off in the playoffs, it'll be a big disappointment. So that's kind of what worries you right now from a Yankees perspective. And the Mets, yeah, they begin a big series tonight against Atlanta, and they definitely are on the right track. But they've got a long ways to go too. But we love seeing Buck Showalter there as manager.
Yeah, I think the Yankees, I think you would agree some more. I mean, being at these games, you go to cover all the games, and the Yankees this season have really been dominated. If it's not the Aaron Judge show and the offense, which has been, I think the unsung hero of this year's Yankee resurgence, we'll say, because again, they've had good teams, but this has been the best team that they've had in a very long time. It has been that bullpen. And I think that says a lot when you consider the fact that Aroldis Chapman hasn't really been a main factor there. Zach Britton, of course, has been injured. And you see some names. I mean, Clay Holmes, arguably the best reliever in baseball.
Yeah, and they lost Jonathan Loáisiga, who was very good for them last year, very good. He went down, and he'll be coming back soon. And, of course, Aaron Boone's man, Chad Green, out for the year, and he's somebody who's been a big part of the Yankees bullpen, who they've gone to for big outs over the years. Yeah, and Clay Holmes, he's been outstanding. Saturday, you would have liked to see him be able to get through that against Boston. He was not able to. He came in with some guys on base, and they tried to get him the 4-out save, and he gave up a run in the 8th, and then the Red Sox battled back for the win. For a Yankee fan, really, you don't want to see Boston in the playoffs. I mean, you're not afraid of Boston, but the last thing you want is for Boston to having this great season, then get to the playoffs and Boston knocks you off. I mean, the Yankees, for as great of a season they're having, if they face Boston and the Astros in the playoffs, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. So
I agree, Samori, 100%. I mean, I think in the American League, the Yankees' path to the World Series could be blocked easily by their newest rivals, which is the Houston Astros. So you've got their longtime rivals in the Boston Red Sox and their newest nemesis, which the last few years the Yankees have not been able to get past, and that's Houston. Jose Altuve just completely owns the Yankees. And then in the National League, the Mets have had a hard time with teams like the Atlanta Braves. I think most Met fans would probably be happier to see the Dodgers, who have been a longer time nemesis for them, just like Yankee fans might actually be happier to see Boston playing against the Yanks than they would to have to face Houston.
Yeah, and definitely the Astros, a very tough team, but the Yankees might have to play both in the playoffs, right? But I think Boston proved the last 2 games over the weekend that they're not afraid of the Yankees. It'll be very interesting to see what happens this weekend as the 2 teams will play a 4-game series to close out the first half. But this weekend was the Yankees' first time in Boston this season, and the Red Sox showed that they're game and that you're not afraid of them. And, they have a lot of good players. And to your point, the Yankee bullpen, Chapman is not giving them much. We'll see if he can become a factor for them in the second half. But Clay Holmes has been really good. But again, Clay Holmes, he's somebody who the postseason, getting these big outs, these last few outs of the game, is going to be all new to him, right? So he's got to still prove that he can get through it and get it done. Chapman is somebody who he's shown that he always has a hiccup in a big spot in the playoffs. And so it appears that definitely Holmes is going to be the one who they're going to lean on to get the final 3 or 4 outs. And but he's got to prove that he can get it done.
And Samori B, you talk about stars. The Yankees definitely have had their fair share this season of stars that have produced well. We mentioned a few of them, guys like Holmes and Aaron Judge, and a bunch of them going to the All-Star game. I mean, this is one of the first times I can remember seeing this kind of presence from the Yankees in the All-Star game, and maybe since like 2010, 11, around that early part of the decade. What do you think of the Yankee All-Stars this year?
One thing that I'm very excited about is seeing Big Giancarlo Stanton starting in the All-Star game with Aaron Judge. when the Yankees traded for Giancarlo Stanton, the goal and the vision was to have two beasts, Stanton and Judge, together in the lineup doing damage. And they got Stanton when he had come off his MVP year where he hit 59 home runs, which was the most home runs ever of any player not linked to steroids outside of Ruth and Maris. And I've always been a big fan of G. I always believed in him, but his thing was to stay healthy. In 2019 and 2020, he hardly played because of injury. Yankee fans got very down on him. 2018, his first year, he was solid, but he had a bad first round against Boston, so you already know how that's going to go with Yankee fans. But the last two postseasons, 2020, he was excellent in the postseason. And last year, second half of the last 2 months of last season, Stanton was arguably the best hitter in the game. Listen, this guy hits the ball harder than any player I've ever seen. But to see him be that power force that the Yankees knew he could be, and see him come in, take what he did the last 2 months of last year, where he was just a complete game wrecker, and pick it up this year, first half, and be very good. Has 22 home runs now. So I love seeing him and Judge starting in the All-Star game together. And then you have four other guys with the catcher, Trevino, of course, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, and Clay Holmes. Yeah. So so they got six guys there. So it'll definitely be great. It would be even better if Aaron Judge decided to get into the home run derby. I think he may be a little. He does not want to smoke from Pete Alonso, but Giancarlo said that he may get into it, so that would be cool if he did.
That was part one of our interview with WBAI Sports Director Samori Benjamin. Tune in this Monday for part two as we talk some more Yankees and Mets baseball.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Our last guest is a Bronx native who since the age of 11 has been writing songs and exploring her artistic passion, crafting a sound that's attracted many due to its raw and authentic essence. But what I find most fascinating about her is that she's the creator of Uptown Melody, a performance series dedicated to highlighting Bronx artists through live music events. And she's going to share more with us. So let's just welcome singer-songwriter and Uptown Melody creator, Ayanna Williams. Hello and welcome back.
Good to be back. It's been a while. And
I know.
back in a different kind of way, but I'm with it. I'm happy to be here.
We had you back in studio. What was it in like 2018, right? And I felt it was so important for me to introduce you the way I did because I just find it so admirable that you've been cultivating this community and you continue to and I'm really curious to know how you've been able to sustain it. But even before we go there, right, being your own craftswoman, how it's been so meaningful for you to not only do it for yourself, but to lift others and hold space for them. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
No, you're like,
let's just jump straight into it. So Uptown Melody is my company, my collective, my baby. Like you said, dedicated to highlighting and celebrating Bronx and Uptown creatives through live music events. We started last year in June at Boogie Down Grind Cafe. And a whole year later, we are still here producing events, showcasing artists beyond just like music artists. We've had poets, we've had comedians. It's been like a really beautiful journey. And I'm just grateful that we going strong and we've collaborated with so many different Bronx collectives, woman-owned business, Black-owned businesses along the way. So it's been a beautiful journey. And yeah, it's about the community. It's about the Bronx.
Well, again, it's a huge undertaking, right? To not only just manage your own career and your own crafts, right? And your own creations, but now to take on other people's, right? Even though it's inside of your company, and the fact that you technically created it during the pandemic, right? Even though it was like later on in the pandemic, 2021, we were still in the trenches because there was different variants. And that you were able to sustain that safely, because I know the Boogie Down Grind was also presenting outdoors. They were out of the performances. But I'm saying this because, you know, Majora Carter is somebody I've known for very many years. And while she's created that movement with the Boogie Down Grind, now she's got Bronxlandia. And you guys are going to do your anniversary celebration there. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we're celebrating 1 year of Uptown Melody actually tomorrow at Bronxlandia, 8 to midnight. And it's going to be great. We're inviting past Uptown Melody performers back. I like to call them Uptown Melody alumni, but performers from the past, like honestly, like fan favorites back. We're going to have Bronx vendors, Bronx businesses there as well. You know, just we want to continue supporting them as well. And we're gonna party, we're gonna celebrate. DJ Sabrasura is on the 1s and 2s, and that's been my A1 since day one. Just my DJ for majority of my events and my partner as we continue doing these Uptown Melodies. So it's gonna be a great, fun time, as all the Uptown Melodies are. I think there's just always a positive, supporting, loving energy in the air for each event, hands down. No matter what circumstance we're given, no matter what challenge comes our way, we make it work and we have a good time.
I know, and it's you know, it's the next generation of creators, right? Even though I'll be in denial, I'll be like, yeah, I'm down with that. But the idea is that we're still moving it forward and passing it back, right? And so, in doing so, with regards to your artistry, because I know you're going to be performing as well, right?
Yeah, you know, I might do a little two-step, like my friend. Might do a little ooh and ah. That's what my best friend says.
You're funny. You're like, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, we're gonna sneak a little bit in.
And I know you'll be presenting for us after this segment, and I want to make sure that they also know that, you know, you've got 2 EPs out. So let's talk about that really quickly before we run out of time.
So yeah, of course, in addition to being an event producer, I'm a singer-songwriter with 2 EPs out, Delicate and Love Box, my own original music produced by my music partner, Quincy Valentine. And even the song that we share today is it's a summer bop. I like to call it. It's just a summer bop, feel good bop. And I love to talk about love. Majority of my songs are about love. I was raised under the R&B belt, you know, so back in the day, R&B was a lot more about just loving, you know what I'm saying? So that's the type of music I create. And I always hope people vibe with it. And yeah, when I do Uptown Melody, I make sure, usually majority I'm hosting and making sure everything is running smoothly. But yeah, I make sure it's like, if I call myself, because Ayanna Williams is my name, but I go by Ayanna the Singer as well. So if I'm calling myself Ayanna the Singer, I gotta show people I can sing.
Okay.
Give yourself that name and then drop it off. So yes, I'm a singer as well.
Just want to make sure that they know. But most importantly, I think you said it in one word, and that is the word love. You're definitely radiating it, and I know we're going to be hearing about it because she's going to be singing In Love song, right? So don't go anywhere because she's going to perform for us after the break. Ayanna the Singer. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Here now to perform In Love. Let's give it up for Ayanna Williams.
Being in love is like finding a person that's just your person. Like not on some ownership flow, but like a partner in crime. Being in love is scary, but it's worth it.
This is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot. I was on my independent woman, don't need no man to take care of me. finding love when it always ends up leaving. That was my perspective. Until you came and stepped in. Switched in my direction. With your love and affection. And I'm grateful for your patience, cause I know it wasn't easy to move. Wasn't used to someone understanding me the way that you do. Now I got this feeling, all these type of feelings. Now I got this feeling, and I'm never letting go of you. No, this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot. And I almost forgot what it's like to smile for no reason. And I almost forgot what it's like to have someone believe in me. And I almost forgot what it's like to not walk alone. And I almost forgot what it's like to have a love of my own. Boy, I swear it's crazy. You came out of nowhere with the love that changed me. Just right out of thin air. And I'm grateful for your patience, cause I know it wasn't easy to move. Wasn't used to someone understanding me the way that you do. Now I got this feeling, all these type of feelings. Now I got this feeling, and I'm never letting go of you. No, this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Feels so good, I almost forgot this is what it's like to be in love. Been so long, I almost forgot.
That was such a beautiful reminder of love and summer in the city. That was Ayanna Williams, also known as Ayanna the Singer. Her 2 EPs, Delicate and Love Box, are out on all streaming platforms. And if you're interested in more information, you can visit AyannaTheSinger.com and check her out on IG at Ayanna the Singer. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the Recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at Bronxnet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor, and make sure you get out and catch some sun. Adios.